Builder fam, Kyle and Kevin go to town. I think we're formulating a really good plan. You all should tune in. What's going on with Atomic Construction? What's going on with Kyle and Kevin? And we talk all things lean construction. Super great episode. I hope you enjoy. Kyle, dude, how are you today, man?
I'm great, Kevin. How are you?
This is, and I'm not making this up for the sake of content. I kind of like just look forward to getting the update from Kyle. So it's like, what's going on in your life? Did you launch any new technology?
No, not since our last deep dive on Project OS, but no, been quite busy the last couple of weeks, just building things. You know? We have a project that's just taken off and getting ready to go full force, and it's ramping up. We're finishing a slab on grade deck, and we're now pouring walls, and now it's going to be deck after deck every 3 weeks. So we're on a pretty fast pace there, and that's taking quite a bit of effort. So,
are you able to speak to it? Or are you under NDA? What you're building?
I don't believe so. I'm under any NDA, but it's a medical office building, 4 stories above ground, 3 stories underground parking, in an urban environment. It's actually downtown Pasadena. So right down smack in an urban environment, lots of constraints and a lot of visibility in the city. And it's a super beautiful project. It's like incredible, really grateful. I'm going to be
for
doing
us,
this one.
Non-California, Pasadena, is that LA?
That's Los Angeles. That's the north side or northeast side of Los Angeles, so kind of like right next to downtown LA. Yeah.
Nice. How many square feet for those? Like, I think it'd be interesting for the guys that build like a 10,000 square foot house, which is basically a hotel of a house, right? That's like a massive project to some. How many square feet is this hotel?
Yeah, this one is probably, I think, 75,000 square feet.
75,000 square feet. So like a typical home is anywhere from 1,500 square feet to, maybe say 3. Anything over 3 is probably getting into you can tell me if I'm wrong here, probably like near, closer to a mansion. And some people will have like 10, 20,000 square foot homes. And you're building a 75,000 square foot hospital, yeah?
Yeah, medical office building. Yeah.
Would that be a big one for you or kind of run of the mill?
It's a pretty big one. It's a pretty big one for me. It's totaling at about 160 million when all said and done. So yeah, it's pretty big, and the schedule's tight. It's a good one. And there's a lot of interesting dynamics that I probably can't go into, but that's the stuff that makes projects challenging. It's not really the scope, it's really the complexity comes from all the people involved. The complexity comes from the politics, the political dynamics that are in the mix.
Yeah, man. In some form of the world, we'll get into that in an anonymous fashion, in a hypothetical. I'll figure out, because that's like the meat and potatoes to me. All right, so but 160 million. I think the other thing that would be interesting to talk about is how long will that take? Like, some of us can't fathom a job taking more than a year. I'm assuming that's more than a year.
Yes. Final schedule hasn't been fully settled on yet, because there's some change going on in the mix, of course, right? But we started at 20 months. I think we'll end up somewhere at 24 months, maybe. 2 years.
That's some scale, dude. Okay, well, so you and I were texting about some stuff. I think it's best just wide open, quick for same page. So there's 2 things we can talk about today, 3 things, and I'll let you drive us. So I'm excited personally, selfishly, as a one-off, just to see how you organize your life in Notion. Because I think that's fascinating. Also, I think we should kind of talk about what is this and what we're doing. I think it's good for just anybody that's supporting it or going to support it. I know we've been doing this all along the way, but you and I are talking about kind of the community and all. Like, there's nothing I really do behind closed doors. So maybe we talk about what we ultimately want to see out of this, and particularly like sponsorship. We can talk about that. Or we just go with this scheduled programming, which we've been trying to get to pre-con. So before we do that, what I was prompted by in our conversations of like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what am I doing? This has just been like I think this started as hey, we need a voice and we enjoy working together. So let's like put a voice out there. But I was thinking, I just hired somebody, right? I was talking some crap. Sometimes I run my mouth. I don't know if I've done that on the show yet. My arrogance. I was like, I don't hire construction professionals. I fucking build them. Like that's what I said. And I've got this girl that's like, yeah, yeah. It's like I don't remember. Good. And I said it, and then I'm like, all right, I got to actually do this, right? And I don't actually like I do trial by fire. I do very well, right? But we don't have any formal like construction 101 training. And I was like pointing her to YouTube, and I was like, you and I are talking kind of like, so you've got, I think like, and this is good for people that are just tuning in too. You've got project management under lock and key, right? If somebody needs help project managing, like everything is built for them in construction. Like it's go to Kyle Nitchin, KyleNitchin.com, and you legitimately gave them their software. They don't even have to, like their company can have shitty software and you've got that solved for. Like, so you've covered that A to Z. And that's, I think, why I'm here with you, why I try to steal you to my place. But I think it's fantastic. It's something I adore in you, and it's something the industry absolutely needed and now has. So the more people we can tell about it, cool. Like project management, check. I believe I owe the whole community the same for sales and relationships. Like I believe I'm equipped for that. I should do that. And then I think together we owe them kind of career 101. Like it's like and I think that breaks out into, you've got the field professionals, the office professionals, the PM kind of project exec track, which you can speak to, the sales, which I don't know that there's a sales career track in construction generally. I think it doesn't exist, which is interesting, other than on the specialty side. And then kind of, we can't speak to this, but we can bring people that can, like the executives. Like how do you become so that's that. And then I think, we can do that together as we kind of build this out, right? That's something that we can kind of develop a curriculum, if you will, through the community, whatever. So those are the career tracks. I think I could speak to the sales side of it in construction because I think it's fictitious and doesn't exist. It's mostly project managers pretending to be salesmen or salesmen pretending to project manage, but ipso facto, neither which way. The other thing that I can be very helpful for, I believe, is small, very small specialty contractors that can't get over the hump, right? Like teaching people how to run a business, how to build a team, how to establish a culture, how to run an op tempo, like where the frick do you start? Like that's something. So I kind of I need to get those two verticals down, Pat. Then we marry that with your project management stuff. And then I think we're ready to kind of build the ultimate construction community for professionals that want to elevate their game. Are we in alignment?
We are. Yeah, we definitely are. I think you're right. What we're trying to do is build a construction community, a community for construction professionals that want to thrive in their role. So we have project management resources. I cover most of that. And I think you nailed it, dude. There is no track. There is no path for the sales side. What I've seen is the sales professionals that I know really were just PMs that didn't make it as PMs or realized that they're not built for PM because this sales archetype is such a different skill set, right? Than managing and executing the job. And that's a skill set that like people learn. They're like, I'm not built for this stuff. I have more of the sales and charisma, right? And so then they land in that. But there's no there's no framework for that. So I think I don't know have you distilled your ideas down to a framework?
No, and I think
or best practices or.
So it took me. So one, I just want to comment because I think what you said was sage, and I'd go to I'd say like it's not that I'd say that a really good salesman is at odds with a really good PM. Period. Like I think like not that you can't do both, but like if you get somebody operating in their national environment, anyway, you and me would be lethal, I imagine, right? Because I can operate in a place of my greatest strength, and you can. So I would say it's like It's not that you can't do both. I'm sure you do both. I've done both, but to answer your question, no, I probably want to model. I think for the sake of the user, I want to probably follow in line with how you've done. I've been very like reticent and reluctant to like, I'm not somebody that should write a book. I'm not somebody that should write a course. And it's like, I really don't want to be a coach. I'm a business guy at heart. I want to just be blowing and going, right? Where you're very disciplined and you've put a process together. So I gotta probably channel my inner PM for my own stuff. But I think it'd be helpful because I see, I've been upset about it since college, like beyond the construction industry. When people think sales, I'm going to ask you, what do you think of when the first thing you think, like the traditional, not in this elevated sense, the simple answer. Do you have a avatar that you think of?
Of the sales guy?
If you think of, when you hear a salesman, like
sales is just kind of, the typical avatar of, cold calling and, making, selling, underselling and under delivering.
If I said slimy used car salesman,
used car salesman,
that's what everybody thinks, right?
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. And I think it's terrible because it's like, we're relationship building, we're customer service, like we solve problems. And then, but anyway, so why did I say that? So I would get excited about that. But the other thing I get excited about for us that can go, like, it's going to take me a while. I'm not going to be as fast or as efficient as you. And you're probably going to have to take me through your Notion stuff so I can get my life organized. But, so there's the career fields and then there's community. And the question for us about the community is, do you launch the community and then build it out? That's something I'd actually like to put that to the audience. Like, should we just start a community or should we wait till things are baked out? One of those things, like you just go off the deep end. But really what I think we should incorporate, and I think when we're conditions set for the community, is I think we should get really serious about this construction 101. Because I was talking about that girl, like, right? I don't build construction professionals. And part of my thing was I sent her to YouTube, but like, and like maybe we go, and I think we just line out, like, and I think we were kind of getting there, and I don't feel like I said it. Maybe you already see it this way, but it's like, let's set the foundation. Like, and I had a conversation with an architect and an engineer, but rather than talking to him about his life story, I think if I approach it differently, is like, hey, dude, we want to take people from out of the industry and bring them into the greatness of construction. So I need you to walk the dog for me. They're not going to go to college about A&E stuff. You need to tell me what they need to know so they can look at a blueprint, right? And so I think if we just change the tune there a little bit, I think it might be, I think this conversation can evolve into the coursework of construction, like industrial. We'll start with industrial construction 101. Like residential will be, can be its own right. I don't know. Thoughts, feedback?
Yeah, I think, I mean, to roll on that, I think we should launch it. Like just create the platform and we can point people to that and join. And inside that community, we can load it up with our resources and our ideas. And that can be a foundation of where we start to funnel and place the tutorials, the 101 stuff. And then we can start interacting and engaging so we can understand the pain points of the people, the listeners, and the people in the industry, so we can tailor the community and the program and the content to their pain points, address them.
Yeah. Well, even as you said that, I bet you somebody's got a really good industrial construction 101 somewhere in the world. There might be a course that we can leverage. Like I don't know. Do you have any authorship bias? Like if the course exists and it's good, we just put it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're willing to share.
We could break it down into 101 topics, right? What do they need to go? How to read plans? What's an RFI? What's a submittal? Who's all these different roles? What's an architect responsible? What's an engineer? How are they contracted? They need to like kind of get all that. That's readily available on. We just need to find the right resources.
Yeah.
Just still cut all the fat and just get to the point.
That's sick. Okay. This was good. This was a great working session. All right. The atomic construction community is going to take shape. I'm excited. So then before we just kind of dive in what you want to talk about today, because we've got
on a side note of that though, and I'll talk to my guy. I have a guy.
Yep.
He's good at the community stuff. Maybe I just tell him, create this for me and Kevin, and Like this
Yeah.
is gonna, you know,
Yeah.
you can get it
If
going.
it's, and I know you've got a lot more, like I've created margin in my life. So now I'm getting to the point where, so if it's more life giving to you to just pass him to me or whatever, like, so like period, end of sentence, I'd rather you manage the project. But if you're like, hey dude, if you don't have the margin to be throwing another thing at either which way is all I'd say. So however you want to
got it.
Run that. Cool. Well, so then, and then I want to what I want to share this with you so it's out there for everyone too. But so the one thing that I'm like, I think you've done a really good job of being extremely fair, generous, and while compensating yourself, right? Like I think I would argue that your course is worth more than you're charging. I think your Notion template is worth more than you're charging. I also know that I'm a smart guy. I know that you're going to do very well for yourself where you sit. So there's like no evil, like for me, if I can say that, like I'm always looking at businesses and assessing evil intent, because I think a lot of good stuff is hidden behind bad paywalls, bad incentives. So I want to just like as a legit testimony, like I think you found a perfect balance. 90% of coaches I see, I'm like, dude, that dude's full of shit and he's ripping people off. Like that needs to stop. So that's what's kept me from moving. That's what's kept me from even moving in this direction. And quite honestly, like the podcast in and of itself is like what I consider an evil business. So I'll tell you why, right? Like Spotify makes a bunch of money to put themselves in between the user, the audience, and the content creator, right? So Spotify makes billions while the content creators have a hard time, and then the users get ads that they don't freaking want. It's like, what? They're an evil business. Like they actually make knowledge harder to discern through, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm really like, I want to do that different. So so how do we monetize, right? And I don't want to monetize, but at the same time, like I know what your time's worth. I know what my time's worth is. Like, there's got to be some benefit of the bargain. So my goal is to have sponsors for the community and the show, right? That like yield benefits from a highly interactive, highly loyal base, right? So our following should be construction professionals that give a high crap factor for the industry. Like they care about the industry and they want what's best for the industry. And I want us to be supported and sponsored by the industry, the companies in our industry that are supporting our industry. Period. End of sentence. Right. I think the best general contractors should be highlighted. I think the best recruiters, if there is such a thing, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, should be, highlighted. And so I want to just run this list really quick of the sponsorships that we're going to be looking for. And what we're going to do is we'll go and do a survey and we'll make assessments of them. Like you're not going to just sponsor us, right? It's not the highest ticket. I mean, I will say this, the highest bidder to me is going to say, hey, they're committed to what we're doing, right? That says something. But if they're a bunch of a-holes ripping people off, like we're not going to, you know what I mean? We'd take less money. Does that make sense? So through this podcast, we'll find our sponsors. But so these are the subcategories I think that make sense. Listen carefully and tell me I know I sent this to you, but so tech, equipment rentals, jeans, boots, apparel. I'm starting an apparel construction apparel company, so I'm a little selfish there. But trucks, truck manufacturers, power tools, hardware stores, heavy equipment companies. I'm so interested in this one. I cannot wait to know, like, what does the construction community think? Bobcat versus Caterpillar. Like, come on with it. John Deere. Do they rank? I don't know. Hand tools. I can't even think of a hand tool brand other than Estwing or whatever.
Milwaukee, Hilti.
No, but for hand tools, for like hammers and screwdrivers.
Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, I do have power tools though. So the Milwaukee, we're going to put the Milwaukee into like I'm sure there's content. We can take the creators that have already done it, but I can't wait to I want to do a survey and find out how many people are using each. Like, I want to peel back that veil. But anyway, hand tools, sunglasses, recruiters, am I missing anything that the construction... I know you saw this list and you said, no, I just want one more time to bless it off. And then what I'll do is, Jules, when we rapidly edit this and put this into the ether, like I would love to ask the community. I've got, I don't know how many here, but like, let's ask the people for which we serve, because I think we're in a position of servitude here. Like we're trying to give a voice to all the professionals. That's the goal. Are we missing anything? So am I missing anything, Kyle?
No, I don't think so. You nailed it. The clothes, the tools, the tech, the companies, the stores, that are supporting. What else do we have in the industry? We have, I don't know, unions. I don't know if that falls in.
Yeah, dude. A union. That would be sick if the union sponsored us. That would be an interesting candid.
Yeah.
Let's say
yeah, other than
union
that,
slash.
I don't know. I think you've got a good list there, and if more start to pop up, this is good. And agree, they'll have to match the Atomic Construction brand message of supporting and building the industry and leadership.
Sick,
to be
dude.
Included. Yeah.
This gets me pumped. So I added as a union slash labor associations. That'd be really fun for us to kind of peel back the 411 line on that, because I think a lot of people don't know. And then trade associations, which is really near and dear to my heart, because the fence industry is amidst the trade war. It's the stupidest thing ever. Sean, Mark, Brian, if you're listening, I'm talking to you. If you won't talk to me, it's going to be ugly. But anyway, I think trade associations, like, are you an ASA member? Are you guys in the ASA at all?
No.
The association of there's like a subcontractor association. So we'll bring them in here and let them, I think there's some opportunity there. So, all right, cool. So the question to the audience, to the community is like, are we missing any sponsors that would be helpful for us to go do the research so you don't have to, and we'll try to get some sponsors that way. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So that leaves us, this construction 101 thing. I think we maybe park that and see if we can't build that as a community. Like, I got sales, you got project management, I've got small business leadership, I think you've got corporate, whatever. I think we stay in our lanes, and then let's see if the community can help us build. Let's see if we can't, like, in the matter of weeks, channel the strength of the tribe and like put together like a BA construction 101. We'll consolidate. We'll be the consolidator. We'll who's ever got the content, like, we can make sure they monetize for sharing it. And the abundant minded people, I think they'll come, man. I really do. I think they'll come. The people that want to see everybody succeed. We're going to go ahead and do that.
Yep. We keep providing value. People will come.
I freaking love it. All right, wait, before we move off of it. So I think, how many people are employed by the construction industry? Do you have that number offhand? I look it up all the time. How many? I have a number in mind before I look. Do you have any idea?
I don't.
I think it's 8 million in the USA. Okay. Gosh dang it.
Let's see this. Oh, whoa. 9.55 million people worked in the construction industry in US from Google AI.
So we have a TAM. We've got a total addressable market for ourselves, 9 million people. So I'm a guy. Let me try this out for size and see what you think, right? Like, I think you talk to 10 lawyers, you get one good one. You talk to 10 therapists, you get one good one. Like, that top 10% are really good. And then, not to say that 90% of people are not good, but maybe don't align with us, right? So, like, I think in the smallest version of our dream is there's only 10% of people that are going to align with Kevin and Kyle's philosophy of the world. I didn't mean to say good. Let's just say that are going to be in alignment with us. That's everybody's good by their own right, but not everybody fits. So I think, can we say that the million, we want a million people in our community on the low side, and then if we can reach elevate half of the industry. So we're targeting. I'm a dream big guy here, so you can tell me if this is silly, but I think we're after 1 million to 5 million people that can elevate the construction game with us. What do you think? Sounds crazy.
I like big, scary things. I like it.
Go ahead.
That's 5 million in a community. Wow. Yeah, that would be cool. I just want to have the biggest impact as possible.
Cool. And you're touching right now, how many, and I don't, if you're uncomfortable, I think you've done what I haven't seen anybody else do, is just like stay true to themselves, speak to what they know, not go out of bounds. You're not trying to be a life coach. You're a freaking project management expert trying to help people. And you're touching thousands of people. Do you mind speaking to your reach today? I have, and let's start with the more humbling story. I have 100 people I've been working for my company. I've been really reluctant to be being an ego-driven podcaster, influencer. I'm very much behind you on that journey. It's most important to me that I've built a good environment for my 100. So, and I'm very proud of what I've done. I'm excited for what comes next for us. But as a statement of who are we affecting today, like your audience, who is your audience currently?
So audience, the people, like who
yeah,
is it?
I think your newsletter is, or how do you? Yeah, do you have any quantification for your impact already?
Yeah, I mean, well, the newsletter has 8,000 subscribers. So that's subscribers, directly in the construction industry, PM, supers, project executives, and project engineers, assistant project managers, even some architects on the lower side. But yeah, these folks are about 10,000 on the newsletter. I think we're approaching 25,000 on LinkedIn. And yeah, and it's clearly grabbed hold these last 6 months. And it's on a good upward trajectory. And yeah, goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I don't see any issue in getting past that. Continue to grow and just continue to listen. I'm just continuing to listen to the market. I really don't care. I don't really measure it so much on subscribers and followers. It's more like I'm listening to like the DMs that come to me, the feedback, the emails that I get responded back to. Like those are like the real indicators of like, wow, people are resonating. Hey, that newsletter really hit with me. That was good. Hey, like whatever you're doing is good. Like, let's get on a call. I need to learn about this. Like, what are you doing? Like, can you help me? Can I do the coaching? Like those, like that conversation has picked up dramatically, which is really cool. Right. So it's resonating, and we're going to keep doing this, finding ways, build bigger communities. That's why we're working together. I'm trying to expand reach here to other platforms and audience members. So
that's awesome, man.
We're just trying to help here.
Proud to know you, bro. I really am.
Yeah.
Sincerely.
And this wasn't an ego-driven exercise. I think we talked about it, but for me, this all started with trying to crystallize my own ideas so that I could be better myself. Right? I started writing and creating so that I could become better. People don't get it that a good way to learn fast is to try and write about it, get your thinking clear, and then try and teach it to someone else that's maybe like 2 or 3 steps behind you. And then things just lock in a lot, right? And so that's how it started. And then it got good feedback, and then all of a sudden I just really liked writing about this stuff. It was a feeling that like I couldn't not write. It's impossible. Like I had something was pulling me to do it, and there's no motivation.
Don't shy away from the divinity in it. Dude, the Lord called you to this for sure, man.
Yeah, no? I got a deep pull from the core. I don't need a push. I'm being pulled.
Yeah.
So
it's super cool, man. I think I don't know. I got to bring you over I got to bring you over to the philosophy, and
we got to go the dark journey. Side.
Yeah, we got to talk all things Jesus. But all right, sweet. Well, that gives us a good foundation, I think, with where we're going long term, and that gets me excited. So is it? Yeah, that gets me excited. So we'll be working on that. So then today, the topic was pre-construction. I think we kind of recock and wait on that and see if we can't do a full construction 101. So do you want to take us through Notion? Do you want to wrap early? Call that like we've set the foundation for what the heck we're doing. It took us, say 10 episodes, but we know where we're going. I'm open to all things.
Well, yeah. Well, let's try and give some listeners some value here, right? I think we need to end. We need to give some value today. We talked a lot about what we're doing and what we're building, but listeners may be like, "Hey, well, what about me? What does this do for me right now?" Like I need stuff now. So I liked the concept of fundamentals, like 101s, like the 101 thing, but maybe just some project fundamentals. And I don't know where you're at on the lean construction spectrum. And if you even think about that, but that's important. In my opinion, I'm a big lean guy, and you'll notice on my jobs that things are kind of run a little differently as opposed to maybe a typical traditional GC or a traditional CM. I definitely have different tools and different frameworks. We can talk about that. And
Do
I
it.
don't
I
know.
would say I think I'm a great target.
Yeah, we
I'm
might
a
be able to lean you out a little bit. So
yeah.
let's lean you out.
So let's start with what I know to humble anybody else that hears lean construction. I'm like, oh, that sounds like I want strong construction, not lean. I don't want to be lean, but I hear lean. So I hear lean construction. I think Six Sigma. I'm not a. I think you're. Are you a black belt Six Sigma?
No,
No.
I have no
Okay.
certifications. I don't do those.
Okay, cool. So I am not either. But I think when I hear lean, I hear efficient. So other than that, I'm like, hey, it sounds sexy. I think I'm leaning out every time I can, but there's nothing formal to it for me. So take me through the definition of lean construction as defined by, is it yours? Are you the original, or is this
No,
okay?
no. This is
Take me through the journey, man.
yeah. Let me pull up something here so I can guide this conversation. So lean construction is actually it originated from the Toyota manufacturing system. They call it the Toyota production system. Toyota did something that kind of, I don't know, made lean a thing. Lean's kind of like it's a buzzword a little bit, and it kind of gets people confused. But it's basically just doing things efficiently at the end of the day, right? It's reducing waste and maximizing value. So what's waste? Waste is anytime you're sitting around doing nothing. Maybe you're spending time, you know, what's some good examples?
I'll give you a good example.
Waste is everywhere.
You want subliminal waste, or you want like catastrophic waste? I'll go through catastrophic waste. Is like there's not a good plan. The superintendent calls us and says, "I need the fence. I need the fence." And the reason he needs his fence is because he needs his trash enclosure gates up to get occupancy, and because he didn't have a plan, the site's not graded, and because we didn't have a plan, we run out there with all of our materials to install the perimeter fence when all he needed was the gates because he didn't communicate effectively. And then I've cost myself all the margin that was in the job. My guys showed up. They didn't get to get anything done. And lo and behold, the very thing he needed for his construction gates was he needed his concrete pad poured or some such. I'm hypothetically like, he didn't do the prep work. So my guys go out there, we make no money. And then we're in a pissing war over a change order. And instead of being partners working towards a common goal, I lose money, they lose money. He doesn't get his gates. He doesn't get his occupancy. I don't make money, and chaos evolves. And then the relationship is shit because we're disorganized, and it's on us. I would just say in that example, like it's on us because we didn't manage the GC. We have to understand on our side, yo, look, they don't care about us. We're 1% of the contract value. We need to do our jobs. We need to be the silent assassins. We need to go out to that site and make sure when he calls us, we have the, hey, do these things. We told him before you call us, hey, and you know what happens a lot of time? They call us and they want the gates. And we're like, well, what about the submittals you haven't approved? We haven't even ordered the gates, right? And so then we're in a whole nother mess of hurt. So I'm sure you can live through that example and explain something. There's that's like magna waste. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure
that's great example. That is a great example to start us off. So yeah, you just described a lot of, I mean, that's like unfortunately 60% of the industry. That's what is such a problem, right?
I'd up you to 80, man. I'd up you to 80.
Yeah, 80. And that's because of, your GC is probably working off a shit plan. Excuse my language. A crap plan is probably on some 12-page P6 schedule that only one person understands, and it's probably hanging in a trailer wall that no one looks at. So yeah, you just nailed all kinds of wastes that we talk about in lean: defects, overproduction, waiting around, non-utilized potential, unnecessary transportation, unnecessary inventory, unnecessary motion, unnecessary processing. So like there's all these things that just happen when all you needed was some communication to, I just need the gates. And where do I fit in your plan? Who do I go before and who do I go after? And where, here's my checklist of things. So a lean environment would have all that stuff figured out. It'd be in a place where people can visually see. There's systems in place that you're reviewing these problems reoccurringly weekly so that you're not losing track of the fence guy. You're not losing track of submittals. You're not losing track of these things. And then when you send out your schedule to you know exactly what it means. You know exactly where you need to be. And if things change, you know immediately. That's the difference between a lean environment and like a command and control environment, right? So yeah, how do you do that? Well, that's an intro to what a non-lean thing is. So lean, how do you do it? What is it? There's an organization that was created, and we need to like link to this organization, Lean Construction Institute. That is an organization that supports the industry. So a good sponsor, right? That would they'd fall in that category we just talked about before. They've created 5 values. That make up lean. Continuous improvement. So whatever you're building, your system, your project, you have something in place that you're learning from breakdowns and learning from failures. So that maybe this GC in this example, maybe he had his first breakdown like on like the framing and drywall, and then like by the time he gets through, like they've already like flushed out all the kinks because they're operating in the mindset of continuously improving. So by the time fence comes around, it's like, come on, we've already learned like through all our breakdowns that we can't run our schedules like that. We can't like not have a pre-mobilization meeting with the fence guy. Like we have to, bring this in and talk about these things. So it's kind of like a mindset. So continuous improvement, a mindset of removal of waste. So a mindset of being able to identify waste and say, oh, look at that. That is way too much material on site right now. It's taking up tons of space. It's causing a safety hazard, and people have to walk around it all the time. Why is it there? Get it off, get it out, get it everywhere. That's removing waste, identifying it. It could be there's waste in the submittal process. There's waste in the RFI process. There's waste in your meetings. There's waste everywhere. Lean people look for it and remove it immediately so they can do the next thing, maximize value. So they're thinking in terms of value. Where is the value? This guy's calling you saying, hey, get on my site immediately and get your whole thing up, your whole fence here, when really the only value was getting the gates, right? That's all he needed to keep his show going. But it wasn't thinking like that. The next is focus on flow. So flow is key. This is the best part of lean, in my opinion, is learning to create flow, because in construction there's so much process, and there's when processes don't link together and go from like, submittal, approved, order material shows up right when the schedule is needed, right? And then it gets put in the inventory spot, and then it gets installed, right? That whole chain link of events, when there's breakdowns in that process, it compounds into more waste. It compounds into more issues. So when we can connect all these things, you get a lot of extra value.
so what I've heard, and I want to make sure. Well, the last thing you said there is like waste leads to more waste, probably exponentially, and so does probably lean. If you get lean, you stay lean. Like you can be exponentially more efficient or exponentially detrimental, right? More or less, that's kind of what's at stake here in this conversation. But then, because I mean, and I just want to go back to the fundamentals. So you talked about Toyota. I think it would be really useful if we find some. I'm heard the videos about Toyota. I think Ford or GM like adopted a Toyota mentality and saved a factory. Like it would be.
Yeah, they changed the game. Yeah.
Yeah. To the editor, it'd be really cool to put that link in there and find that story. But
there's a whole book. There's a book on it.
What is it?
The Toyota production system.
Okay, great. We should hyperlink that. But so as far as like, if there's any of my avatars in the audience, like. I've heard Kyle talk about a lot of things here. What I heard was big ticket is lean equals reduce waste. And I heard I want that. So then so this lean construction thesis, that is not your own, or are you have taken the lean? It's not your own. Okay. So where do I go if I'm like, I'm not listening to anything Kyle just said. I just heard no waste. I want that. How do I become a lean run company or a lean run project man? And so it's a philosophy, it's a mindset. It sounds like it's a mindset is really.
It's a philosophy. It's a mindset, number one, but then there are to couple the mindset. Once you have the mindset, there are lean tools that you can use, right? This is like stuff like the 5S system, last planner system, just-in-time deliveries, things like nothing hits for target value delivery. These are complex things that are like once you just to go there you have to go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Okay, it took me like 3 years to really wrap my head around lean. Doing self-education. Now, that can be done with better education faster, but yeah, you have to go there. So I'd say the first place to start is go to leanconstruction.org. That's the organization that supports the industry and has made all these ideas accessible to people. And so start there. That's where you can start your education. There's like hundreds of blog posts, videos, and then you can go out and find like lean coaches and lean influencers. There are those out there that have a lot of great things to say as well about how to implement these things, how to think about these things, and the tools and best practices how to do those.
Okay, so you're saying, so what if somebody heard low waste, high yield, lean, you'd say go to leanconstruction.org and then get yourself educated. And then for those that are in a situation, let's say we're talking to visionaries, we're talking to guys that aren't in the trenches, that aren't like, or like, I understand how if a project manager wants to get lean, my advice to them is they just go to Kyle Nitchin and follow everything you're doing. And they're going to probably fast track themselves to the 3 years of knowledge. Now, if I'm a business owner and I say, I want to lean out my organization tip to tail, I want to adopt this philosophy, what would your advice be?
My advice would be you start with the basics. Okay. You got to start super small. First of all, go do your research, get involved, read a couple things. I'd say the first tool you want to start with is like the foundation of lean, which is just the basics. It's super basic. You're going to be like, come on, this is elementary. Yeah, exactly. 5S. I can tell your background, you need a 5S your background back there. So that's an example wherever you're at. Okay, so 5S. Sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. Okay. So if you go into your shop, your fence shop, right, you should walk in there. There should be nothing on the ground. There should be absolutely nothing. When you go to your shelves, you should look at your shelves and everything should be labeled. Clips, tools, whatever you do. I don't know what you have.
Fitting. Yeah, we got it. Yep.
Okay, so everything's labeled. So a guy goes in there, he's not opening drawers and looking at where things are behind cabinets. No, it's I need screws. Screws are there. I need this. They're there. And so it's the value is like when you just going right, there's no waste, right? And then you're just sustaining this process. You can do that with your job site. You can do that with your trailer. So my thing is to start with your environment. Shape your environment lean. Okay. Start with your office, your desk. Go to your desk. There's nothing on my desk right now. There's no distractions. There's my cell phone, and that's it. Your workspace, your office, your schedule, your conference room. Do you have visuals? Do you have everything set in order? Are you wasting time digging around, finding paper, going through file cabinets? That's all waste. Get rid of all that. So the place to start is your environment. And then your environment will affect your mindset. And your mindset will affect your actions. And that's how you create this snowball that gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Beautiful, man. I want one disclaimer. I'm displaced. I don't have a home. I don't have a studio. I'm basically living in my father's basement. And if somebody wants to give marriage counseling, that would be the genesis for the anti-lean background and what is a shit show of my life. So it's fair. If you came to my, it would be fun is if one day you had bandwidth, it'd be fun to go around and see if you came to our shop, if we would pass the lean, because we would not have a year ago. We would not have passed the lean test. If you came to my shop, I think we'd get at least above average marks. But so what I'm hearing you say for guys like me, invest in it, get your foundation, but really who's ever operating the company needs to embrace this and needs to be a lean operator, like tip to tail. They need to go to school, so to speak. And like and what I heard at the elementary level for the user case, the project manager, is it starts with your desk, right? Everything you do should be efficient. You should have your notes organized. Everything about the way you operate should be systematized and leaned out for waste. There's no looking around. Is that fair? Is that a fair out of the blocks rec?
That's fair. That's fair. And yes, it is, because it's not about being super organized and meticulous and OCD. It's not like that's what because people might freak out and be like, about my desk, it's not about OCD. It's about maximizing value. You don't want waste. Like honestly, people in people in general, most of their days are spent doing waste. Like it's crazy. Their to-do list, half of it's waste. Okay. Like just eliminate this stuff. You doom scrolling on social media, waste. Like, what I'm talking about? And think about this from a leadership perspective. You hire a new guy on Complete Fence Incorporated, CFI, and he walks into your shop, and the shop is immaculate, and it's fully dialed in. Everything's where your trucks are clean. Okay, the tires are waxed and ready to go. They look freaking great. You roll up on a job site, you whip open your truck, tools are organized, you load up your tool cart, it looks freaking good. What does that new employee think when he comes in? Whoa, this is a professional environment. This affects their minds. And when you roll up on a job site, oh wow, CFI, they roll different. Yeah, they don't mess around. They're like Navy SEALs.
Yeah, I think it's so simple but profound, right? Like we've all seen it on the job site too. And I think what you're saying is you're setting a standard, right? You're setting a standard of like top tier. Like the trucks are, it's kind of, I don't know, you're setting the standards high, but I can drive by a job site and I can tell you a good project manager from a bad one, right? You can see it. It's just like what you're saying is you can come in my shop, and I've heard this said by some of the greats in our industry, is like, I can tell you how a fence company is run by looking in their yard, right? Like I can tell you, and like you say it's not OCD, but like I can tell you looking at a desk about somebody that like is a well lubricated machine versus a chaotic. They might be a good GSD, they get shit done, right? But it's chaos, right? And I have a chaotic tendency to myself, and I think what's interesting is as you explain it is like, and I don't know what episode it was, and hopefully we can highlight it here, but how we talked about you being an ordinary guy doing extraordinary things, right? And no short of impressive. Like you're a rapid project executive building some amazing things that very few could even dream to be building. Wow. While building a brand, a community, a following, and like discipleship surrounding project management. And like, I think the funny thing about that is it's all enabled by your ability to efficiently lean out your process, say no to certain things. And like, it's like that universal wisdom, right? It's the same thing. Like I think Elon Musk's wife was talking about what's most incredible about him is what he says no to. And he says no to anything that's not contributing to his mission, which is inefficiencies. And so I don't know.
He's the king of lean, dude.
Yeah.
Elon is the king of lean. And he doesn't call it lean, but he's lean. Like he built Tesla manufacturing system. I mean, incredible, right? Incredible. Changed the game. He does like 5-minute meetings. I don't think he does meetings longer than 15 minutes. He comes in, he comes right to the bottleneck. He finds the bottleneck, solves it, gets out, moves on to the next bottleneck. He's just looking at where the waste is going or where the value is getting limited, removes it, gets out and lets people fix. Then, he says no to everything. He has no waste on his mind or to-do list. And that's how he's been able to create what he's created. $3 billion companies, changing a bunch of industries, because that's how he thinks, right? Now, he doesn't use the words and he doesn't need to. It's not about the words, right? It's not about the terminology. So, I mean, it's key. Like, it's a quick story. There was an entry-level guy I was looking at hiring, but then I was walking, we were walking the parking lot, walked by his car. His car, dude, it was, I've never seen a car filled with so much trash that you couldn't even put your feet on it. And that told me everything I needed to know. That told me everything I needed to know. I said, no, thank you very much. Good luck. No, we're not bringing that into my environment. So I mean, it goes deeper.
That's awesome. And then, so we haven't done anything to plug you here, but like, let's say let's go to the project manager that's listening. Is like, I want to be more like Kyle. So obviously go to leanconstruction.org, go do your self-study, but have you fast track, is any of this embedded in like what programs that you already have going? Like where would this go to your coaching? Well,
yes.
I feel like at the risk, I must say this not every episode, no episode is intended to plug you or any of my monetization, but I feel like you've already got some infrastructure around this, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Part of my program is, I run through the 7 archetypes. I mean, that's the foundation of my framework because it covers everything. And the builder archetype is where I touch on lean because it's key in the builder's scheduling and planning. And it even blends into the communicator too. Lean communication, lean building. That's part of it. So it's bled into it's often a topic in the newsletter. It is definitely a core topic in my program. It's huge. And
so the human, like, I was working with a coach on some stuff and he said it this way, is like, there's no secret to like being healthy, right? Move your body and watch your diet, right? And then we have a bunch of unhealthy people because and they're signing up for XYZ coaching and doing all that. Everybody wants the easy button, right? So if is the easy button here is it a easy button to go through your coaching course? Is that going to help? That is two separate things. Like, am I going to get lean educated by spending the money and going through your coaching platform? Am I going to get most of what I need there for it? That's and it's designed to do that. So that's building a lean. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it is. You're going to get fully up to speed on that. It's a core product, a core piece of project management. And yes, that is the easy button, I would say. That program will supercharge your leadership. It's a leadership supercharge from real world stuff.
And then what we probably want to, just as like, I don't know where you park this or if you get to it, but we probably want to do that very like, because like it's transferable, but it's gapped to the me's of the world. And I'm thinking of the me's of the world that got anywhere from 1 to 10 to 20 employees and are struggling to run a business. Like, I love this lean and I'm going to go chase this squirrel. This would become a squirrel for like a business leader. Cause it's like, it's not, it wouldn't, I would advise this is an ancillary and critical item, right? So it'd move into the bucket of like, it needs to fall in line with your priorities. Like I think what I would suggest, and you tell me if this is right, what I'm hearing you say is the lean mentality is quintessential, fundamental, foundational to effective project management. I would also say that applies to business, but it can't come first before you fix things like your company's purpose, your culture, and other fundamentals so that you can go. Cause like otherwise, like I'm thinking of somebody that's got a 10-person company and then they go to spend the next 6 months on this lean stuff and then it never takes hold and it never. So I think it'd be really fun if and when you have time to kind of adopt the project management specific lean anecdotes into like how do you incorporate that into like the business fundamentals. Not to say it should be ignored, but I'm not saying that at all. I just, as a guy that chased too many squirrels for a long time and bumbled my way to where I am, it's like you would want to either delegate this to the right person and have somebody like really take it and run with it, or you'd want to park this and get to this when the foundation of your business is ready to actually do what Kyle is suggesting. So I don't know if you'd agree with that with what you know.
Yeah, I would agree. You do the first is getting your core values, your vision right, and the fundamentals of your business. I think the best way to do it, and I do this similar thing with my projects. We do build a team identity. We build a vision, and we build our conditions of satisfaction for the project team. And when we do that, lean is part of those core values, right? I think it should be as part of your core values in the construction business because there's so much waste. Lean should be part of your core values. When it is part of your core values, then it's easy to just naturally go out and, okay, it's part of our values. So I need to learn the tools and I need to practice with them because our core values is to eliminate waste, right? So
yeah,
it's a perfect mix. But if you don't have those core values up front and you're just like, boom, we're trying to push as much work as we can and we don't care, it's just maximize the billing every month. Like, I don't know. There's some folks that fall into that mindset, but
yeah, I think it's funny because I would even take it a step back. Like people hear values and they think, all right, let's put them on the website. It's like, no, are you setting a culture for success, right? Are you living by your values? Like there's a whole, like my program would be like, you got to understand culture because it takes years to build and it takes one or two little mistakes to crumble, but you like did it, you embodied it, like you saw that dude's, like some people might have heard, well dude, what if that guy that you didn't hire was a great guy? It's like, no, he does not, his core values and mine don't align. I can tell you that by looking at his car. He's not gonna do well here. This is not a cultural fit. So it's super pervasive. That's great, dude. I mean, I think that was valuable myself. I'm like excited. It just gets me. I'm like anxious. I'm like, there's so much we have to do here. Is that sufficient? Do we think we did sufficient value or do we want to dig into more lean or?
I think so, man. That's a good starter because can't do too much at a time because it's not going to resonate. It's too much. What you find with lean when you start getting into it, really, especially folks that have been doing this for a while, is that they have to unlearn a lot of things. They have to unlearn a lot of the ways that they were doing it before, especially when it comes to stuff like scheduling and planning, because some of it is an industry problem. It's the industry is not lean the way it's systemically set up. So you have to kind of be aware of that and combat it. It's like a fight. It's like these tools, like I'm saying, 5S, last planner, target value delivery, pull planning, these things that are in the lean toolbooks. And we can link to a playbook that I've written about. But these things are things that are fighting. Like, we have to fight against the waste that's inside of our industry that it's there. So you have to be aware of that.
I'm super glad you brought that up, because it was the one thing I was thinking is like, it's like, I find, and so just like as a foundational, you kind of said some of our industry, I say most of our industry is not emphasized. Like you said, you got to relearn. Like I'd say tip to tail, if you were to ask me, like, how is it rare to find a lean and well-run construction site, or is it common? I'd say rare.
No, rare,
right? Rare. Yeah.
Rare,
and
rare,
I think, and this gets into something else I want to do, and I've been trying to get some people to come on here, is talking about like from the whole way we're very focused on like safety insofar as our liability to our insurance companies and the lawyers, right? And we're very concerned with our contract insofar as mitigating risk to the owner. And we do all of this fluff, right? Like, I think it's great. We force people to stretch, but it's like, at some point we've lost any folk. And like, I think one of our guests, Dave Destor, I doubt you've listened to him, but he said like, we're the only sector, like every sector other than construction has become more efficient, transformationally more efficient. We've become less because we're focused on, and I think it starts at the top, is like we're focused on liability, risk, and risk mitigation. And then there's not to say you can have both can be true. But like if we focus, like it's paperwork conducive, it's so intensive, it's ridiculous. The specialty trade contractors float the freaking job. Like it's bankrupt, and like nobody's worried about the last nail. Everybody's worried about the paper and the lawsuit that might come. And so I think there's a reckoning that we can lead. I have a vision for this. It shouldn't be this way, but yeah. Anyway,
yeah, this right here, everyone needs to read this one.
I'm gonna build.
This is what you just Built to Fail
by Todd R. Zabel. Do you know him?
I do know him. I have not. We've chatted just online a little bit, but
shameless plug, Todd. You need to get your butt over here and pitch your book.
We should actually see if we can get Todd on the show. He would be great, bro.
Yeah,
let's get Todd on the show.
Yeah,
Toddy, let's get him.
Bill.
He's done some podcasts, and I know the guy who's done them. I could maybe get that going. So Built to Fail talks about everything you just talked about. The industry is focused on over administration. Why? Because of the risk management perspective. Traditional construction does this. You get a contract and there's liquidated damages with it, right? Huge amount of risk everyone takes on. The GC, all the subs, we get from the top, and the risk just gets thrown down to us. Now, so what does that create? What environment does that create? That creates an environment where we get a job, but at the end of it, is a big hammer. The LDs are a big hammer, right? So you're immediately going in with a fear mindset, okay? Because, that is what's coming to me if I screw up. So I need to protect me, my company. Now, we're not thinking about, why aren't we thinking, let's just do what's best for the project, right? That's the lean mindset. It goes against that. Now, the lean side of things have created a new model, and it's like, this only happens on like people who really know lean and are familiar with it and love it. It's called IPD. Have you heard of it? Integrated Project Delivery. Okay. It's a different business model that's lean focused, where instead of the hammer, you get a carrot. Okay. And that carrot says, okay, if at the end of this project, if we succeed on these goals, these metrics that I've outlined already, schedule, time, budget, team morale, whatever, that everyone gets a reward. Everyone gets an incentive. So there's incentives built into the contract instead of damages built into the contract. See the difference in mindset? Now everyone has trust. And now I'm saying, hey, fence guy, you're going to do this right? We're going to talk ahead of time, because when we hit this milestone, we all get paid an extra $100,000. Boom. Now we can think lean. Now we can get into the mindset of looking at waste. Now we can get in the mindset of solving problems that really matter to the project. Now we can completely change the entire conversation. I've never done an IPD project, but I know many who have. And it's different. People that go on IPD projects are like, dude, I don't want to go to anywhere else. I want to do that again and again and again. Now, it's not perfect. There are still happens, but the main players are brought to the table: owner, architect, GC, all the main trades, the big trades. They're all brought in, and there's that shared savings pool that everyone gets a piece of if the project hits its goals.
I've never heard of this, and I can't wait to explore it. I think, we owe, for the non-construction, construction curious following that we may or may not have one day, just liquidated damages. Let me see how I do here. Liquidated damages are something that the owner puts in the contract, which says, if you don't finish my contract on time, you're going to pay this much dollars. And then you guys put it into the subcontractors. And so there is this fear-based, don't be late or you're going to pay. And then once the project it's a trickle down of blame assignment is really what it becomes.
Finger pointing.
Yeah.
It becomes finger pointing. It becomes CYA. It becomes photos. And hey, see it, like, here's a notice. Here's a letter. I got it. Then you receive a letter. Then a lawyer's got to get involved. Then I got to respond to the letter. And all of a sudden I'm all my days spending doing legal wars and documenting. So at the end of the day, when someone doesn't fulfill their commitments, my head's not going to get chopped off.
That's awesome. Well, so I'm going to say, let's talk all things IPD. Let's try to get Todd on the call. Let's say today's lesson is lean construction. I think my key takeaways is it's a mindset. There's any number of resources to get educated on lean. But when we see lean, we think efficient, we think waste reduction, we think of exponential benefit in exchange of exponential consequence and detriment, right? So that's the story on lean. And then what we've assessed here that we need to dig further into is our industry by itself is set up to fail to build a lean environment, and it's going to take a village for us to kind of change that tide. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Sweet.
Absolutely. It's going to take a village.
And we're going to build that village, 5 million strong. We're going to go build a village and make we're going to be the beacon of efficiency by the time Kyle and Kevin get done with it.
Yeah. Yep.
As always, if you don't like it, fill out the survey, say so. If you do like it, comment, like, subscribe, whatever that jazz is. We're trying to build a community of better builders. Period, end of sentence. I think the ask of the community would be anybody that has a voice that aligns with ours, elevated in the construction industry, come and get on here. Anybody that has some type of industrial construction 101 resource that they'd like to share and maybe monetize, let us know. And then hopefully we post this with a list of all the sponsors that we want. If you think we need more sponsors, say so in the comments. If you think we need a different category, say so. If you would like to support what we're doing to elevate the trades, please email me and come and build better with us. Thanks for tuning in.